You're in your own head all the time, replaying what he said and rebuilding the conversation and just trying to figure out what the hell even makes sense, right? And we don't stop at that hurt me. Women automatically go to, but why did he do that? Now, I want to show you why your brain keeps doing this, why you keep getting stuck on it, and what's pulling you away from actually seeing the truth. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach, author of 5 books, and I speak internationally on the topic of domestic violence and abuse. So if this content is helpful to you, hit subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this. Now let's dive right into why does your brain do this? Now our brains really want things to line up, right? We want things to make sense. So when things don't line up, our brains keep working, right? We're looking for a reason, something that explains this gap. Frankly, something that makes it predictable because predictability is safer. This is why cognitive dissonance is so hard because we're holding these 2 conflicting beliefs and one is wicked painful and one feels better. So our brains just choose the better one, unconsciously. So it's not even that the behavior is safer, but this predictability is safer. It's easier to believe this. So we keep searching for an explanation that sort of settles this in the least painful way. We're trying to go through details and connect the dots. If he's just abusive because he's abusive, if he's just abusive because he chooses that, that's a really painful realization. So there has to be a reason, right? It's your fault. It's his mom. It's trauma, whatever. But we're looking for something that makes sense. There has to be a reason. He can't just be abusing you for no reason. Can he? But he can, and he is. Now we're touching on some of these explanations, right? He's stressed. He had a hard childhood. His mom is mean. He didn't mean what he said. You provoked him. He doesn't communicate well. He's overwhelmed. He has anger issues. I don't think he realizes what he's saying. I had a client earlier today even say to me, maybe he's just dumb. No, they know what they're doing, but we're trying to give it context and fill in all the missing pieces to soften the impact on ourselves of what's really going on. But all of this keeps us in the loop. But it feels like we're understanding him, right? We feel like we're doing the right thing by trying to understand because people don't just act this way for no reason, right? Yes, they do. The best lesson you're ever going to learn is that there are people in this world that will hurt you for no reason. Just because they can, that's it. No more. That is the truth. Now, I learned this lesson the hard way, like so many women have, but I also had this reinforced through multiple conversations that I had in about a 6-month span when I was conducting interviews for my podcast. Chuck Derry, Peter Salerno, George Simon, tons of people, Joe Navarro, a former FBI agent, tons of professionals are saying the exact same thing. There are people who are opportunistic and will hurt you because they can and for no other reason. But here's the thing. The more that you try to explain why he did it, and honestly, I always got to call this out, right? One of the best-selling books is Why Does He Do That? But actually, that line of questioning, which is very important when you're first starting to learn, it's not going to help you. In the end, what you actually need is to move away from why did he do that and onto what did it do to you? What has this cost you? What is the impact of his behavior? When we're focused on why he did what he did, we are not thinking about what happened to us. We're too focused on something else. So bring it back to yourself. Stop trying to reason with it. Stop trying to make it make sense. What if he's just abusive and that's it? And this is how he behaves. But why? Listen, we have to move on from the why that keeps you in this thinking loop and ruminating. You stay in your head and you don't stay where you need to, which is in your body. How does it feel to be in an abusive relationship? What is it costing you? What is the impact? Come back to this. A huge part of why this behavior keeps repeating is because we are distracted. Now, they are phenomenal at creating this distraction, right? Oh, I'm only like this because, or you're going to leave me just like my mom did, and all the whiny things that these men say to you to keep you distracted. They want you to focus on the why, right? I only did this because you provoked me. I've never been like this with anyone except you. If you wouldn't have done this, then I wouldn't have done that, right? They act like they're always provoked. And you see it in comment sections too, right? Men aren't just abusive for no reason. What did she do before that? The abusive ones are abusive for no reason. To act like men are just provoked left, right, and center, That would make them not the logical ones, right? That would make them the emotional ones, wouldn't it? Now, you're rarely going to hear me say this on my channel, but anybody who is abusive is not provoked. Abuse is a pattern and it involves power and control. Yes, it applies to women too, but my channel is focused on abusive men. I'm a women's coach. Now, the deeper pattern here is that we analyze instead of experience. And what I mean by that is we stay in logic, right? What makes sense? Why might he be doing it? We start to try to solve this like a problem, especially when we look at it as a relationship problem. We are experiencing negative things, right? There is yelling and conflict and arguing. And so we're trying to figure out, where do we fit into that? What did we do to cause it? Which again feeds into, it takes two, which in an abusive relationship, it takes one person. It does not go both ways. There is only one perpetrator of abuse, and the only role that the other person has is fear and guilt and obligation and a million other reasons why the victim or survivor stays in the relationship while they're still there. But here we are trying to solve this and treat it like a problem that we are having, when actually it is a choice that the perpetrator of abuse is making. We think that if we can understand why, then we can help them stop doing it, or we can manage the situation. And if you can manage the situation, you can stay, right? You can kind of keep it in this space. I think we feel like we're protecting the relationship, protecting ourselves. You know, we're doing something. You're not just standing there being abused. You're working on it. You're figuring it out. You're going to solve it. You're going to make him realize that it's his trauma that made him this way, or blame his mother. You know, she didn't love him enough and she's evil too, right? His mother's a narcissist, so he's a narcissist. It's really not how it works. Abuse is a choice, whether a person has a diagnosis or not. But all of this, we think we're doing something. We stay active in it and we don't step out of the relationship because we're too engaged. So coming back to, what is the cost? What is the impact? That matters so much more. This line of thinking keeps us there because explanation, honestly, makes it a little bit more palatable to understand what happened, right? It takes the edge off and it gives you hope to stay. And I'm telling you, hope is brutal in these relationships because we are so attached to the idea that we hope they could be the man we met in the beginning. We hope they can live up to the potential that we see in them, that the future that they've been promising us is really going to happen. Hope is so addictive, but it delays the next step, right? You don't have to decide yet. You can just keep thinking. There's a sort of paralysis in this. I say this to clients a lot, okay? There's two options. Option A, stay. Be abused, be confused, but you still have your person, but you're dealing with this awful situation, but that sucks. Option B, leave. The pain of this, the loss, the withdrawal, post-separation abuse, divorce, all these things, that sucks. So option A sucks. Option B sucks. So why are you supposed to choose between these two awful things? So it creates this little paralysis and you just don't want to make any decision. This keeps you in the loop. I need you to sort of step back and start making lists. You hear so many people talk about, make a list of all the things that he did to you. Yes. Okay, that's column A. Column B is, what was the impact on you? What did it cost you? And I don't mean like he made you sad. I mean, he betrayed you. He destroyed you. He shattered you. He calls you names. How often? What names? How did you feel when he called you those things? Not just hurt. It changed how you saw yourself. It created confusion. What is the impact of being gaslit for all this time? Really think about the impact. This matters. This is what's going to help you get out of it. Now, this conflict that you feel, you know something's off and you feel it, but your mind steps in and it starts building this case. And then you start going back and forth between what you felt and what you're telling yourself and what he's telling you, probably that you brought it on yourself, possibly that he's sorry, but he's lying. And you lose your footing completely because you don't stay with one belief. You bounce between two. And that tension, it holds you right there. You don't move. And really, I keep talking about what this costs you. You're drained, broken, always thinking, always processing, always trying to make sense of something, always like trying to land somewhere, but you're doubting your reactions. You're so sure that it's abuse, but are you? Are you sure you're not making it up? Because he says you're overreacting. And someone in your life also said, maybe he didn't mean it that way. So you stay longer than you plan to, or you go back through things again, or you leave and go back. We know it takes an average of 7 times. You just never feel settled and clear. So many women say they feel stuck and trapped and stuck in your head, in a fog, overwhelmed, guilty, afraid, a million things. You feel it. That's the impact on you, never really knowing. So what you really need to shift here is not why he did it. Look at what it did to you. I really want you to stay with the impact. How did this actually land? Think about things like how often it happens, what's the pattern? And something I say, and I feel like I'm, talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit, but he's consistently inconsistent. I know things are good, and then things are bad, and then things are awful, and then things are neutral, and it just goes around and around. But that's consistent in and of itself. It always comes back to abuse. It always goes from good to bad. There might be a million things in between, but it always comes back. So don't explain it. What if you just said, this is abuse, and you didn't think of, but why is he abusive? What if you just go, this is abuse, and what is this costing me? This is where things are really going to start to change. This is a new mindset. You don't need a better explanation. I think you've built plenty of explanations. It's why you're still there. It's why you're still thinking about it. You need something different. You need to trust your own reactions and stay with what you feel and stop smoothing things out and making it all make sense and sit in that confusion. Name the pattern clearly. This is what moves you. It's not more thinking and more analysis. No, it is focusing on the impact. You don't need to understand him more. Stay with what this is doing to you. Hit subscribe if you're not already. And if you're in this state of confusion, I want to invite you to join me inside the Trauma Bond Recovery Group Coaching Program. This is a 12-week program with 8 to 10 women. I co-host it with Dr. Peter Salerno, and we take you through the actionable steps that are going to help you resolve cognitive dissonance and break your trauma bond. You can join that group, or you can work with me one-on-one in private sessions. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.